right, shall we get this thing going? All right, let's get it going. And every time I change the weights and set the machine up, it makes a different drawing. So I can't exactly predict what it's going to do, but that's half the fun of it. My sculpture has always been kinetic. I feel compelled to build things that move. My brain doesn't even think of things that don't move, and even some of the static things that I do, they're either sketches for a kinetic piece or they're very dynamic. And between the mobiles that I build and the things like this, I just can't build anything that stands still. Something that I've been trying to do with my pieces is find the balance in these natural forms and these elegant forms. It's much more challenging because on a geometric form, the center of gravity is within the dimensions of the piece. But whenever you have an S-curve, like the arm of this harmonograph, the center of gravity is no longer on the piece of steel. It's off in this arbitrary point of space, and you really need to develop an intuition to find that balancing point, to find out where it needs to move so that you can get it to do what it needs to do. It's all part of the playful message that comes from my work. I like toys and tinkering, and it just kind of captures that energy of playfulness. This was the first machine that I built. I actually robbed that egg beater from my wife. So I take this and I treat it gingerly and I try to keep it clean, and I end up strapping it to this device, and it does beautiful drawings. It does a gigantic, wide variety of drawings depending on however it sets up. And once I decide, okay, this is gonna work, and I started working on the final draft of the machine, I learned that all egg beaters are not created equally. After scrounging Goodwills and Salvation Armies trying to find another beater and going through 5 or 6 of them, I couldn't find one that had the same torque, the same speed. There's some weird spirit that inhabits this thing. This KitchenAid blender that I found just happened to be a fine artist in its own, and so I had to keep it, which is why it's still in good condition, because someday I intend on giving that blender back to my wife so she can make things again with it. Every time I turn it on, even though it's the same machine, the same blender, the same outlet in the wall, the same pencils, just in changes in humidity, changes in where the pencils and the wire armature start, it'll make completely different drawings. And that's part of the fun of it, is discovering.